Hi guys, last speech. I'm here at the university. I was going to use the study hall so I could stand up and be just as awkward as I usually am, but apparently the day before finals is a bad time to try and get into a study hall. So here I am out with a nice brick wall background, and I'm pretty sure I can still promise to be just as awkward as you guys have gotten used to. We made it to the end, and that's what I want to talk about, is whether or not we should have all been required to do this. I think, should the University of Arkansas make public speaking a required course for all degree programs? That's the question I want to address. My answer is no. But I don't want to ruin the surprise, so let's see how we get there. I was going to be a lot more tongue-in-cheek about it, but the more research I did, the more I thought it deserved a serious analysis. So this is me attempting a serious analysis. I've taken a public speaking course, right? We're at the end. I've finished a public speaking course. I should be able to present a serious analysis in a concise and persuasive way, right? That's if Steve did his job. We'll find out, Steve. First, we were going to look at the current state of public speaking at UAFS, whether or not I'm right that it's being required everywhere, and then is it required everywhere else? Is it required for all the courses? Do other universities require it? Then we'll look at the pros and the cons of learning public speaking, and after that we should be able to make a decision on whether or not everybody should be able to spend their precious money, or should be required to spend their precious money on a public speaking course. I've already told you my thoughts, but we'll see if we can all get there at the same time. So the first thing I did was to check the UAFS course catalog, and I didn't check everything because UAFS offers a million courses, but I did a random sampling, and of the dozen or so I looked at among the arts programs, the science programs, the kind of hole in the wall, animator and graphic designer programs versus the out front talking to people, criminal justice, nursing programs, they all require speech. It's always required, or it's always suggested to take within the first or second year. But maybe every university requires that. I don't know. This is the only university I've gone to. This is the only bachelor's degree I've ever gotten. So what do other universities require? Well, I checked Fayetteville, I checked the University of Oklahoma University, and I did a random sampling of their courses, and they're about 50-50, and there seems to be a little bit more of a connection between the courses that require it and the courses that don't. The courses that you wouldn't expect it don't require it. The courses that you would, they do require it. So that makes a little more sense. The question then becomes, or the realization then becomes, A, we have the power on a university level to decide what's required and what's elective, and that other respected universities have decided not to go the way we have, and they've made speech an elective where it's appropriate and only required where it's actually required. So yeah, that got me through that one. So knowing that it's not necessarily required to get a bachelor's degree, that's going to be to get a bachelor's degree, speech or public speaking isn't going to be a requirement anywhere else, depending upon the degree you pick, then what are the pluses and minuses? Are we brilliant at UAFS, and everybody should be getting it? I did a Google search, a quick Google search showed me lots of websites that told me the pros and cons, the introduction, the introduction, the Institute of Public Speaking and Toastmasters, they have entire websites dedicated to the pros of, the improved knowledge of the subject matter because of the amount of research that we do before we give a speech, and the increased self-confidence because you know your subject matter better and you're used to talking to people, and then the improved leadership skills that increased confidence brings with it are some of the definite pros. But those are very biased sites, so I wanted to find something a little more neutral, so I did a library database search, and I came up with dozens upon dozens. Every article, it seemed, was talking about dealing with the extreme anxiety associated with public speaking. And generally, that was the only real con that people can come up with, but that was a pretty huge con. So the question becomes, is it worthwhile to require people to deal with that level of stress and anxiety during the first and second year of college, where they're already stressed and anxious? And I just have to say, for required courses where it's going to be obvious in your career choice, yeah, require it. But for elective choices, get the guy who convinced the university to make it required for everybody, get him to do some ads so people can realize exactly how important and valuable it will be, but let it be an elective, because people shouldn't be required to add that much stress and anxiety and expense on something that's not directly related to their degree plan or their chosen career path. And that's pretty much where I am.